Wild boars. The symbol of a failed society. Imagine this. You're a 21st century European farmer, equipped with modern machinery, surveillance technology, and even drones, yet you're completely helpless against wild boars. Not one, not 10, but hundreds, even thousands of them. Aggressive, cunning, hyper-reproductive beasts that ravage farmland like they own it. And the worst part? You're not allowed to shoot them. You're not allowed to trap them. You're only allowed to watch. This isn't satire. It's the daily reality in countries like Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and over 35 US states. Wild boars have become the most destructive, invasive species in the West, not because they're unstoppable forces of nature, but because they are protected by laws and a warped sense of environmental morality. Where did this boar apocalypse come from? It's not a natural disaster. It's not a virus. The wild boar invasion is a man-made catastrophe. First introduced to North America in the 1500s by Spanish explorers as a mobile food source. They were later imported again for recreational hunting. In Europe, misguided biodiversity restoration efforts saw governments reintroduce boars into forests with no predators, no natural balance, and full legal protection. These aren't your average pigs. They're muscular, sharp-tusked, intelligent, on par with domestic dogs, and they breed like rabbits. One sow can have 2-3 litters per year, with 5-12 piglets each time. A single breeding pair can produce hundreds of offspring in just a few years. No predators, no regulation. That's an unstoppable biological wrecking crew. The farmer, from breadwinner to victim. Farmers, the backbone of our society, have become victims. In Italy, a single night of boar activity can destroy a vineyard worth hundreds of thousands of euros. In France, they rip up wheat fields, collapse fences, block roads, and even raid urban gardens. In the US, the economic damage caused by wild boars exceeds $2.5 billion per year, not counting hidden costs like insurance, repairs, and lost productivity. And yet, what does the government do? In many places, boars are still classified as protected wildlife. A German farmer was once investigated for illegal killing of protected species after shooting a boar that broke into his chicken coop. In the US, it can take weeks to get a permit to kill one while the boars are busy producing a new generation in a matter of days. Eco-consciousness or moral hypocrisy? We're told to respect nature and preserve biodiversity. But no one talks about the consequences. When an invasive species spirals out of control, it's no longer naturates, an occupation. And Wetha Humansar handing over land to these invaders with a naive smile. Animal rights activists, nestled comfortably in urban office buildings, condemn boar hunting as inhumane. But they're not the ones being chased down by boars on their way to school. They're not the ones watching a year's harvest turn to mud overnight. Their version of compassion is selective, blind, and hypocritical. Should we go extreme? Some countries, like Australia, have launched large-scale campaigns to eradicate invasive rabbits, cats, and yes, wild pigs through aerial hunting, poison bait, and smart traps. Controversial? Yes. But at least they're doing something. In the US, experts have proposed year-round boar hunting, even cash bounties per kill, turning boars into a national target. Yet most governments remain paralyzed, trapped between maintaining their eco-friendly image and facing the actual crisis. Some say killing them is anti-nature, but leaving them to destroy millions of acres of crops, native plants, and wildlife is that nature? In conclusion, we're losing to pigs. We live in a world that can build space rockets, develop AI, and create robots, but can't protect its food supply from a horde of wild pigs. This isn't just an environmental issue. This is a blunt, undeniable sign of systemic failure where misguided ethics, red tape, and urban idealism override rational action. It's a joke, a dark one, but one we're all living in. If we don't wake up soon, our children will grow up in a world where wild boars rule the countryside, and humans are the ones trespassing on their own farmland. A sweat and blood debate. Wild boars, to kill or not to kill? Picture a late afternoon in the Italian countryside. The sun begins to dip below the horizon. A farmer has just finished harvesting his wheat field. Sweat still clings to his brow. He stands before his golden crop, heart full of peace after a fruitful season. But then from the edge of the forest comes a sound he knows all too well, the unmistakable grunt of wild boars. Not one, not two or three, but an entire herd. More than 30 fully grown wild boars charge out like an armored battalion. They smash through fences, tear up soil, and turn golden fields into shredded dirt. Within just half an hour, everything is ruined, flattened, uprooted, as if a bomb had gone off. The farmer stands frozen. He is not allowed to fire his gun. The law says he needs a permit. He must file paperwork. He must wait for approval. But the boars do not wait. They come, they eat, they destroy, and they vanish into the woods like nothing happened. This is the spark that ignites a never-ending war of words, a fierce debate between urban animal lovers and rural farmers under siege. Side 1. The animal rights advocates. Who are they? They are animal rights activists, environmental bloggers, conservation influencers. They live in modern apartments in Berlin, Paris, and New York. They are vegans. They post articles with hashtags like Justice for Boars and demand a ban on using guns to kill wild pigs, calling it inhumane. In their eyes, wild boars are sentient beings. They feel, they bond, they suffer. Killing them with guns is cruel and promotes violence against nature. Instead of bullets, they advocate non-lethal alternatives, contraceptive injections, solar-powered fences, and even relocating boars to remote reserves. A spokesperson from a major European animal rights group once said, "We cannot kill in the name of human convenience. Taking the life of a wild pig is just as painful as killing a dog. We must change our mindset." It sounds noble, poetic even, but does reality agree? Side 2. The people who live with the problem. They do not blog, they do not tweet, they do not sip organic lattes in climate-controlled offices. They sweat under the sun. They dig in the soil. They feed their families by the yield of each field. And every time wild boars appear, they are not fascinating wildlife. They are nightmares with tusks. A melon farmer in Texas lost his entire crop in a single night. A family in central France saw their cattle attacked by wild pigs. 3 cows died from internal injuries. A farmer in southern Germany fell into over 300,000 euros in debt after 3 years of crop destruction. Their words are simple and raw. Don't preach to me about compassion when those animals just destroyed my only income. I don't hunt for fun. I hunt to survive. They are not bloodthirsty, but they are desperate. When they request permits to defend their land, the answer is often, "We're reviewing your case." And wild boars? They do not wait. They breed. They invade. A single female can produce up to 3 litters per year, with 7 to 10 piglets each time. In just 5 years, a single breeding pair can create over 600 pigs. This cycle never ends. Selective morality, the quiet accomplice. Nobody denies that wild boars are living beings, but when a species grows unchecked, destroys ecosystems, and causes widespread damage to human livelihoods, it is no longer a victim, it becomes an invader. Still, many choose to romanticize them. Look, how cute a mama boar and her babies. No one shares pictures of destroyed fields, collapsed barns, or children injured on their way to school after a boar attack. People pick the part of truth that fits their comfort. They prefer easy ethics and avoid the uncomfortable ones. The right to self-defense, the right to survive, the right to protect your land. So, should we use guns to hunt wild boars? The answer is this. When there is no other choice, we must act. Because farmers cannot stand by and watch their lives be torn apart. If modern society is too slow, too bureaucratic, and too afraid of criticism to act, then the people will act for themselves. Some U.S. states like Alabama and Georgia now allow year-round wild pig hunting with no bag limits. Some hold hog hunting tournaments to reduce populations. Australia once used helicopters to shoot wild boars from the air. In Japan, artificial intelligence and smart traps are used for targeted elimination. These solutions are controversial, but at least they are solutions, not just speeches. This is not a war against boars. It's a war against ourselves. The debate over whether to shoot wild boars is really a test of our collective maturity and moral clarity. Will we make the hard choices to protect what matters? Or will we hide behind pretty words while others suffer the consequences? One day, if you hear the snort of a wild boar in a public park, if your child is hurt on the way to school by a charging animal, if grocery prices skyrocket because crops are wiped out, remember, we had a choice, and we let comfortable morality shout louder than truth. Wild boars don't read manifestos. They don't care about hashtags. They care about one thing: feeding and breeding. If we do not act, we will be overrun by tusks, but by our own cowardice and naivety.